Welcome to Real People, Real Voices. With your host today, I'm James Jackson.
And I'm the co-host, Pastor Wayne Moore.
And we're glad that you're joining us. We have a great show for you on today. Dr. Wayne Moore, we're going to be talking about issues with regard to social justice, housing, affordable housing, and development of quality housing for people who live in our community.
Right. Not only that, we're going to be talking about some solutions to that, how people ought to relinquish themselves by helping other people. And we hope that Ms. Cooper will help us to understand that today.
Well, she has a very deep reference and experience in the area of housing in the city of Indianapolis. She's worked with quite a few people who have influence and or responsibility for making sure that people have quality and affordable housing.
And she's going to give some insight as well on how we ought to be able to handle some of our housing issues. And I believe she's going to be able to be competent enough to give us information we need to disseminate within the community. That's what it's about.
And I think perhaps she'll be able to share with us some information, even going as far out as to talk about senior housing.
Right.
As I understand it, we don't have enough quality housing for seniors.
Right. That is a new epidemic. We, at one time, everybody was, we're building senior citizens' homes. And now, for some reason or another, that was on the decline. We began to build residential areas, forgot about the senior citizens. Now it's become an issue. Now it needs to be addressed.
And Wendy Cooper is going to talk to us more about that and several other things with regard to the development of affordable housing and improving the quality of life in the city of Indianapolis. So we hope that you will stay with us right here on Real People, Real Voices, and we will be back after this.
Our food, our fresh air, our forests, our playground, our water, planet. Together, our hands can save it. Connect your hands with ours, and we can save our land, our water, our future. Join us at nature.org. The Nature Conservancy. Protecting nature, preserving life.
Well, welcome back to Real People, Real Voices. Dr. Moore, we have some really good information here with regard to housing being part of economic development in the city of Indianapolis.
Right.
Miss Wendy Cooper is here.
She's here.
She's responsible for or works with the Insight Development team in Indianapolis.
Right. And we're going to hear what she has to say. And I'm pretty sure she's been at it a good while. She has some pertinent information that would be useful for the community, and hopefully we'll get her information and we'll make sure that those who are listening to us and watching us here, that we pass it on to them.
And more specifically, she manages the development of plans and procedures for the implementation of special projects. She has extensive housing and community economic development experience in the private, public, and not-for-profit sector.
Right.
And prior to joining Insight Development Corp., she was the Director of Economic Development for Flanner House, where she facilitated strategies for housing and commercial development. Ms. Cooper, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Cooper, for being here.
Thanks for having me.
So talk to us about that Insight Development.
Insight is actually the not-for-profit development arm of the Indianapolis Housing Agency. So we develop and build housing, affordable housing for people throughout the city. So we have some special properties that are in our inventory. If you're familiar with downtown, Milliken, which is at the base of Barton Tower, There's two parts of Milliken. Milliken 1 is all affordable housing, and Milliken 2 is recently been brought online. It is market rate housing. And I was actually at a meeting not too long ago with somebody who lives in Milliken 1, and she said if it was not for Milliken, she could not live downtown. She lives in a 2-bedroom unit, beautiful unit, pays about $850. And the comparable unit
That's downtown.
That's downtown
Wow.
on Mass Ave.
Wow.
Premium real estate.
Yeah.
And it is a beautiful building. And then Milliken 2, for the comparable unit in Milliken 2, which is market rate, would be between $1,700 and $1,900 a month. So that just shows you kind of the disparity in terms of affordability versus what the market, particularly downtown, is doing, where it is very difficult to find an affordable unit to live downtown.
That's
$850 a month for downtown Indianapolis.
on Mass Avenue.
Right, which is a constantly redeveloping type of situation in our city. That's major.
It is. And so we're really committed as an agency and as the development arm of the Public Housing Agency to create neighborhoods where there's diversity, where people look different, think different, have different income stratas, have different educational backgrounds, and we really believe that that's how healthy neighborhoods are created.
You talk about passing the social torch. You're very interested in social justice, equality, but passing that torch from one generation to the next sounds like a big challenge with the new generation that we have.
It is a big challenge. I think that we are all up to that, and I think that we all have a part to play in that. It's interesting. I would say that I am probably the sandwich generation between the civil rights leadership of Dr. King and Julian Bond, who I had the pleasure of working with, and sort of the elder statesman, if we will, and the young generation that really is moving the social agenda forward. Those are our babies. And so I think that the sandwich generation has a place to play in saying to both sides that there's some grace in learning how to be humble, learning the lessons of the civil rights era so that the young people do not have to repeat them again. But that requires us all to be more humble, to put our egos aside, and to really encourage and nurture the next generation of leadership.
You also said something about diversity, and I think we need to be conscious of the fact that there's more than one community in Indianapolis. And so you need to tell us, what do you think and how do you think the diversity in Indianapolis is faring up now?
I think diversity is a huge challenge in this community. I am actually from Atlanta, so have a different perspective on what diversity looks like. But we have to work with what we have. And so we have an exciting city, I believe, that really needs to capitalize on our strengths and celebrate our differences in our diversity, and encourage people, particularly our people, to be involved, to have a voice, and to be at the table. I think what often happens here is I show up in the world that I live in or work in, and I am often the only person of color and very often the only woman in the room. Decisions around how our community is built and the built environment are often made by people who do not look like me. So I think that as we continue to create a healthier place for people to feel welcome and excited, that having young people and having different people of color in the room, and certainly women, I think that we should have moved past that. When I walk in the room, I should not be the only woman's voice at the table. It's great when that actually happens.
Yeah, and you know, you talk about the table, Dr. Moore, And we've had this conversation and,
Yeah.
and being invited to the table.
Right.
And that's the challenging part of it.
Yeah, well, most of us don't get invitations.
True, and I think part of the, you're exactly right. And I think some of that, we have to extend the invitation to others as well. So our table has to be welcoming for other people. But we also, when we are asked, we need to show up.
Right.
And I think sometimes, and we need to share that invitation so that it's not just the same people that are being invited to the table. And I think that the time now is really critical for young people to be invited. It is really exciting when I go to meetings at Flanner House or other places where there are young people sitting at the table and listening to the conversation and also sharing their voices as well.
Yeah, I'm hearing more and more the terminology youth voice.
Right. You hear that frequently now because young people are becoming so upset about the system in which they live in. You talk about solutions to some of these issues that we're talking about. Give us some solutions.
Well, I think that in terms of housing, I think that we've got to continue to press on policymakers about equity situations in our neighborhoods so that our neighborhoods become healthy. We have lots of neighborhoods that are beginning to thrive and be fabulous places for people to live. Oftentimes, the neighborhoods that look like you and I are left behind.
You said something, and I hate to, many times people fight for equality, but now we've been fighting for equality for so many years, we've forgotten about the equity.
Equity is really important.
Okay.
And we need to collaborate and understand that some neighborhoods that face the same challenges can all work together and use talents from within that neighborhood. I think it's really critical that people understand that our neighborhoods are ours to reclaim.
Yeah.
And that we all have gifts and talents and that we shouldn't be looking for somebody else to come and do that work. And that's a challenge.
Thank you so much for the information, and we look forward to seeing and having you again.
Great, thank you so much.
Thank you so
I
much.
appreciate it.
God bless.
And we want you to stay tuned right here on Real People, Real Voices. We'll be back after this.
Real people, real voices, keep it real.
Welcome back to Real People, Real Voices. I'm James Jackson,
I'm Pastor Wayne Moore.
and we are glad that you have stayed with us for today's show. And our next guest is Mike Ford. He
Right.
is a certified personal trainer with 7 years experience. He's also CPR and AED certified and has just a array of fitness products.
Yeah, and you know, the personal trainer ideology is taking off rapidly throughout the country, and everybody wants to be in shape. I can't say too much about that at this particular point, but I'm happy to have him on the show.
Well, he may create, or maybe we can get him to create a unique product for pastors.
He might be able to do that. He might. We'll see.
We'll see. So welcome to the show, Mike Ford.
How you doing? It's
We're
nice to
glad
meet
to
you.
have you on today. So talk to us about what you're doing. I saw a commercial of your program, seemed pretty intense. We were talking before the show how that a guy like me, I work out, but I probably wouldn't be able to do the advanced work that I saw in the video. But you said you've got other things.
Right. It's actually called the program. And the program is what we learned from a wrestling coach at Arlington High School. Coach Grundy, he's actually been inducted in the Hall of Fame, so the program actually works. We do it in low, medium, and in high impact. We can even do it for kids, but we also do it for adults, for losing weight and whatever their goals, fitnesses may be. It could just be just so simplistic of you just saying, I don't want a six-pack, I just want to get my stomach down. I don't want to have it that intense. And we can modify it for that. Just like you told me you work out 5 days a week, but we can also keep it to where you actually growing instead of, you know the exercises you're gonna have, you know the exercises that you're gonna use and do. And what we do is we throw new exercises at you all the time. And it's kind of like the same effect that the guy on P90X says is allowing your body to be shocked. And that's what we do. We just constantly shock your muscles. And that's why personal trainers is actually being more effective nowadays.
Yeah.
Because if you go in the gym, you don't know what you'll do. Or you may know the same usual routines. I get on this treadmill, then I go over here, I use those dumbbells. Well, when you come in here with us, you might be on the ropes, you might be flipping a tire, and it's no telling.
Yeah, and I don't push myself. I push myself, but when I'm tired, I let myself off.
You
the
kind of
hook.
let yourself breathe.
I let
and then
myself
you,
off
Then
the
you
hook.
actually walk.
Right.
Okay, well, we're not. And that's the difference.
That's the difference.
I'm familiar with some of the workouts. I have a son-in-law that's a personal trainer. He does a great job at it too as well. And I don't really take full advantage of it, but I'm happy to see these young men creating their own businesses. That's the side of it I like. Not only what they give the community, but he's an entrepreneur.
Yeah, where are you located?
44th and Keystone, right there at the light. It's kind of hard to miss it because it's like a big old billboard picture of my face on top of the building. We got like 5 trainers that's up under me. We got the yoga guy who does nothing but stretch bands. He don't do no weights or anything. And then we have another guy, calisthenics and weight loss. So they're all in their own.
Have a great process
Their
going
own.
on.
Yeah, they're in their own lanes.
And for our viewers, when you start talking about yoga, essentially it's stretching.
Stretching the muscle.
And what I found at 49, working out, you can't just keep working out without stretching and making sure you stay flexible.
Yeah, you have to be flexible because if not, your muscle's gonna ball up. It's only made of protein and water, so you're looking at it as a rubber band, and you wanna let the oxygen and the water inside of the muscle. That way it doesn't allow it to cramp or catch Charlie horses or even lock to a point where you can't even straighten it back out.
Yeah, and
I kind of lived this, I'm sorry.
Well, I've had that with my hamstrings.
Okay.
And man, just tightening up, and you work out and you believe you're healthy, and then you're trying to get around and can't get around because everything's so tight.
So you wanna do that when you roll out of bed. I always tell people stretch real good when you come out of bed, and then stretch real good before you get into bed.
And I think when we look at our pets, whether it's cats
Right.
or dogs,
They do it.
when they wake up.
They stretch.
They stretch out real good.
Tell us about your certification.
I'm certified in so many things. Actually, right now, I have elderly, I have adolescents, I have overall, and I also have coaching, and I also have training and certification, which was my 5th one to train other trainers.
Okay.
Which is the trainers that
So
I have.
you're now the guru.
Now I'm at number 6.
Yeah, great.
And ISSA is who I'm certified from, and they told me I don't even have to pay the other 2 years no more. So I'm at that point. But my last one now is in sports specific. So it's in strength and conditioning and speed and agility. So it doesn't matter what sport you give me, soccer, football, basketball, I can put your kid in whatever.
Okay, so you can do NFL trainer.
Right, I have. I got a couple of them that I used to work with before, like Eric Foster and Taj, and there's a couple other guys that I had worked with, but that's what we're working on now, the DVD. And we was going to ask Gary Brackett if he'd help us too.
Yeah, and you're right here in the city of Indianapolis.
Right, and he's right over there with Georgia Reese's.
So for our viewers that feel like, I made a resolution at the end of last year, coming into the new year, and you see a lot of those fitness commercials on television. That starts to wane off when the days get longer. How do you get remotivated before December 31st, January 1?
I think the motivation always comes off of who you have to talk to. And when you actually have that person to talk to, because when they talk to you, it's kind of like it re-energizes your battery, kind of like the jumper cables. And they'd be like, well, okay, if I just walk with you today, or if we just start going on the canal, it's whatever that triggers that. And I think after the first week and you see the results of it, I think that's what's really the most important, is when you see that the results is happening, you don't want to let them stop again, and you don't want them to go back and reverse. So I think that's what I always would tell people, at least let the first week change and see that change, because you're not going to want to go in reverse.
And you're probably going to feel the results before you actually see them visit.
Question for you, co-host, my co-host. Did you really make a resolution?
No, I mean, well, years and years ago.
Oh, okay.
I'm still fulfilling it.
You was just checking.
Yeah, he was just
Okay.
yeah.
I
That's
didn't.
good.
I didn't make a resolution on that.
Yeah. Well, that's
I resolved that I would eat less chocolate,
right.
but I failed.
Miserably.
Well, yeah.
And mentioning that, nutrition plays a role in this
Right.
aspect as well. Tell us about nutritioning.
Nutrition is very simple. You pretty much look at it as your basic 5 principles, like the ISSA certification shows. You want to make sure you have low or no bread at all. And if you do, have it earlier in the morning, like your piece of toast. That way you got all day to burn it off. You always want to make sure that your impact of sugar is low, but just make sure you have at least a granola bar for 10 o'clock for your snack.
Okay.
Because your body has to have
Yeah,
some
so
form of sugar.
nutrition is important.
It's very important.
All right. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Appreciate you being here.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Thank you too.
And right here on Real People, Real Voices. Stay tuned. We'll be back after this.
Real people, real voices, keep it
When it comes to your money, whatever you want to get smart about, you can find at smartaboutmoney.org. Smart About Money is a free online resource. We are a non-commercial, non-profit organization dedicated to helping people just like you get information about money. For everything from how to build an emergency fund to how to deal with job uncertainty, smartaboutmoney.org has the answers you've been looking for. Smartaboutmoney.org, the easy place to start when you want to get smart about your finances.
Welcome back to Real People, Real Voices. You know, Dr. Moore, there was good segments there dealing with affordable housing and fitness. That's an interesting marriage there.
Are we going to talk about affordable housing first, or are we going to talk about fitness first? I mean, let's talk about affordable housing. Yeah, fitness is great. We need to be conscious of the fact that we need to take care of our bodies as
Right.
well. Not only that, but the affordable housing piece and some of the things that Ms. Cooper tries to project in the community, I think is phenomenal. And I think that some of our people will be able to glean from that.
Yeah, and I was very surprised. $800 some odd dollars down on Mass Avenue.
$850
For the seniors.
For a senior to live there.
Yeah.
Most seniors don't function like that or roll like that, if I could say it that
And
way.
may not know
Right,
that it's so affordable down there.
right. And then secondly, there might not be any vacancies anymore because of those prices that are down there.
Yeah, I mean, and there's a lot of things that are in close proximity
Right.
to that particular address
Right.
where seniors wouldn't have to go so far to
Right.
access them.
And now they have what, new grocery store down there now,
Yeah.
et cetera. So they've done a lot of economic development in downtown Indianapolis to meet the needs of those who live in those areas.
Yeah. And so we certainly thank you all for joining us today on Real People, Real Voices, and we hope that you have been blessed by the show. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Real People, Real Voices. Look it up and become a subscriber, and tell all your friends about it as well. Looking forward to the next time.
I am. It's a great experience working with you.
Yeah, and likewise with you.
Thank you.
And with you, our viewing audience.
Take care.
Until next time, God bless you. Thanks for being with us on Real People, Real Voices.